Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Albany County Commission regular scheduled meeting for March 19th, 2024. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and Commissioner Jones. Present. Commissioner Ibarra. Here. Commissioner Gosar also here. If you would stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd appreciate it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 is a public hearing, and that will be, we'll open up the public hearing for amendments to the fiscal year 2023-2024 Albany County budget. Would anybody like to speak on or against amendments to the fiscal year 2023-2024 Albany County budget? We'll go in person and then we'll go online. All right, online, your turn. Last call for to speak on or against the amendments to the fiscal year 2023-2024 Albany County budget. Commissioners, entertain a motion to close that public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Item 4, comments from the public. If anybody would like to make a public comment, please select the lectern, and then we'll go online after we're done here in the house.
Good evening, Commissioners. Can I give this? I'm gonna pass that around, please. Thank you. I just wanted to kind of touch a little bit about 2023 for the Albany County Fire District 1. We had a fairly successful year in progress. We've done a lot of work, and we really owe that work to our chiefs and to our volunteers and to our auxiliaries. We really couldn't do that work without our auxiliaries. The amount of sustainable revenue that we receive every year, it just simply doesn't do as much as we need to be doing. So our auxiliaries help us out a ton. With that being said, this year we were able to hire a few positions. We were able to hire a district coordinator, a training coordinator, a wildland coordinator, and these have been instrumental in the progress that we've made this year. They've done just an amazing amount of work and continue to do an amazing amount of work. In coordination with the chiefs, we've been able to prioritize and start to execute some really big things. We still have a lot of work to do, but we're really making progress forward. So I really wanted to kind of touch on some of those things. Our call volume was up 56% from 22 to 23. So it was in the 400s, and then last year for 23, we had over 980 calls. So that is over 3 a day, and that's a big number for us as a fire district when we're all volunteer. We're working on things moving into the future. For this year, we're going to be prioritizing with EMS. We're working on an agreement with Aligned Providers of Wyoming. To make sure that we have good liability and coverage for the EMTs that we already have in the fire district. As you guys know, and we've talked about before, and we had testimony from Jerry Hammond a few months ago as well in terms of that gap in coverage and the unknowing of what was going on with state licensing. And so we made a priority to really move forward and solidify those EMS agreements for our volunteers. We're also developing a more robust wildland program as well. We're prioritizing that in terms of being both a recruitment tool, a training tool, and then also a revenue tool as well. And Bill has done an amazing job as our wildland coordinator to be able to do that. Our peer support system has been growing. I think our numbers are there in our 23 reflections. And we've got 9 members on the Albany County Fire District 1 support team. They have over 80 hours of training as peer support team members. And we're working with Building Warriors, who's also transitioned to their name to Auxilium. So if you hear that getting kicked around, that's the reason why. They've done amazing for us as an organization. We've had a couple of CISDs after really challenging calls for our volunteers. We're learning as an organization, and we're continuing to grow with that. And we've had really good support, both from the city firefighters, the county firefighters, our neighboring agencies, the chaplains organization. One of our incidents, we had the peer support team members from the state highway patrol come over from Cheyenne to help out with that. So that peer support team is really, really growing. And so, like, you know, from from me personally and also as a board member, we really thank you for being able to allow us to jumpstart that program through the ARPA grant funds. We're bringing on, our intent is to bring on more peer support team members as we see that we still have gaps within inside of our fire district for this year. But we're just continuing to move forward. Some of the other challenges we're looking to in 24 is, of course, some of the new legislation that was passed. We don't really know if there's going to have revenue impact. We're working with Tracy and Chelsea to figure out how that may or may not impact us. We're crossing our fingers. But you may have watched too that there was 5 or 6 firefighter legislative bills that went through this year that we're going to be using for recruitment tools. One of those is rehiring of Plan B pension. We're going to try to leverage that for our benefit. We're going to try to utilize the state insurance legislation that also went through. We've already had multiple volunteers ask us about how and when, and when will that start? July 1st is my understanding, but I'm still trying to dig into the weeds on the state insurance plan. And then one that we talked a lot about today in Casper with the Fire Chiefs Association was Senate File 0003, which is the 24 hours of leave for state employees. If you're not aware of it already, what the state has done is any state employee that's also a volunteer responder, whether it be search and rescue, EMS, or fire, they're starting July 1st, they'll be given 24 hours of leave from state. And that's for both responding to calls, but then also for training purposes. And one of the things that they talked about today was any of those 3-day trainings that our volunteers would do, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On that Friday, if they're a state employee, they'd be able to get the 8 hours of leave. And so what I would ask this board to consider is also look at that in terms of something that could be done for county employees as well as the state employees. I know we have some of on our rosters that may be working for different entities inside the county. I'll be doing the same thing with the city as well, but to consider that in terms of Senate File 0003 for that state 24 hours of leave for, 24 hours of leave for state employees that are search and rescue, EMS, and fire. Other than that, we continue to be super busy. We continue to grow. With growth, there's always challenges. There's always setbacks. There's always, discussions and heated discussions and challenges to change, but we're moving forward. And so we're happy to be here. Any questions for me?
Luke, thank you so much. Commissioners, any questions?
Luke, I read your material that you sent us earlier, and it was impressive, all the numbers and the data you gave us. I just have one question. Your peer support, is it for families as well?
Yes.
For like spouses and
Yes,
kids?
thank you for asking that. Yeah, it is exactly. It is expanded to the volunteer firefighters, their spouses, and their children. So it's immediate family members. And one of the things that we recognized was that being a volunteer firefighter, being a first responder is a huge impact on the individual, but just as much onto the family as well. And you can see divorce rates and how high they are in comparison. You can see challenges with family dynamics and children as well. So yes, we have expanded that in terms of it, and I think it was in the original as well, but we weren't really sure how the numbers were all going to match out. But as we're continuing to progress through this grant, we realized that we can have that with the children, with the spouses, and with the family members.
And what does that look like? Is it a family group counseling, or the spouse can be on her own?
Yes, and yes.
All the above? Or?
Yes, as long as they are a member in good standing, that they are meeting their call per our district policy volume in terms of like how that works out, what is the impact of their families, and how can they receive that support. And we continue to nurture that culture change as well, as we know it's difficult. So
Nice, very good, thanks.
I guess just to follow up on that, that's ARPA funding for the peer support. Do you have ideas about making that more sustainable?
Yeah. We do, but we're still looking at the numbers in terms of like right now, we're not even close to what has been granted to us. I know we've got an appointment in June, I believe it is, with Bailey to follow up on where we're at with that. And we're going to be well on.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Thanks, Luke.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Our bathroom ARPA funding, however, is going to be over by close to 50,000, I'm told. So, well, yeah, we're doing everything we can. It's
Yeah.
crazy how quotes that come in can just seem to kind of take.
Explode.
Yeah. So trying to focus on some of those positives, but yeah, the bathrooms have been a huge challenge for us, but they are moving forward. We have contractor in place. They're making progress. Agreements have been signed, so everything's moving forward with the bathrooms. But we do know that the final numbers coming in from the contractors that we've assigned it does exceed what the grant amount was awarded. But I've had that conversation with Bailey. She knows that it is what it is, and so we have to figure out how we can cover that. So
Awesome. Thanks, Luke. Any other questions?
Yeah, Luke, your numbers here show that you're at the most percentage of your volunteer firefighters are 50 and up. And then the Senate File 004 is rehiring retired people. Is this going to be an issue as far as having a workforce or a fire force that is aging?
That's always a challenge in volunteer world, right? Especially with volunteer firefighters. FEMA has done multiple studies. They started back in the 80s and went through the early 2000s, and their studies have shown that there's 4 major impacts to volunteer fire service. Age is one of them, and has to do with the retirement age increasing every year nationwide. As retirees are not retiring at 62 or 65, but likely 67, and even then might be getting a second job. We also have like bedroom communities. I mean, there's a lot of different factors in there. Our volunteer population is definitely aging, but it's not unique in that. That's a national thing. So I think that one of the things that they tried to address with that Senate File 004 with rehiring, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this, but Wyoming career firefighters Plan B pensioners, the way that it was written prior to this year, prior to that legislation, was that if they retired at 50, because that was Plan B, 25 years is fully vested, and to retire at 50. So any career firefighter that works past 50 continues to put in the plan, but they're not adding to their pension. They've maxed at 50. And then if they retire at 50 and get rehired, let's say, a firefighter from Laramie Fire retires at 50, gets rehired with Laramie County Fire Authority or something like that, his pension would go on hold as long as he was working for a fire entity. And so what this bill, to my understanding, does is it allows him to continue to receive his pension while working for a different fire entity inside the state. So it's something that a lot of the career departments, Plan B guys, and men and women, and then the volunteer services that do hire full-time firefighters, even part-time firefighters, are really looking at in terms of there's a wealth of knowledge, there's a wealth of training, there's a wealth of information. Like, let's capture that the best we can. And prior to that bill, this is again my understanding, prior to that bill, if they were to be hired then outside of that, their pension would go on hold. They couldn't receive those benefits while working in the fire service. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
So that's my understanding of it. Not a lawyer, just a lowly firefighter. So
Any other questions?
No.
Thanks so much, Luke.
yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Thank you.
Any other public comments in the room? All right, how about online? Would anybody like to make a public comment? Last call in the room and online, please. Public comment. Commissioners, I entertain a motion to close the public comment.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Item 5, disclosures. Commissioner Jones, any disclosures?
Not that I know of.
Commissioner Barrett?
I have none.
And I have none also. 6, considerations and changes on the agenda. Sheriff, please. Thank you.
I'd like to, if I could, add an item to the agenda, give you guys a copy of MOU agreement that I actually received this afternoon, which is an extension of an MOU agreement I already have with the Wyoming Highway Patrol. So
Can
for
we,
you guys' consideration, if we could squeeze that onto the agenda today.
Kayla, can I put that at 20A, please? The sheriff has a group of stuff there. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
To update the wording on my eco books agenda item. I don't remember what number it is now. 29, and I need it to read, instead of the purchase of e-poll books, because that's not what we're doing. It's the interagency agreement between the state of Wyoming, Office of the Secretary of State, and Albany County Clerk's Office to set forth the responsibilities of the county regarding the acceptable use of the state's electronic poll book module of the Wyoming voter registration and election management system.
So just what you gave us here.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
so that you guys, when you make the motion, it's just to update the, I know.
I was trying to write it down and then I was like, yeah, I have that.
Brady, please.
I need to remove item number 26, the travel repayment agreement, RS-24 conference. We did not receive any more agreements from the community partners, so there's no point in having the item there.
Thank you, Brady. Anything else? All right. Item 7, approval of the consent agenda. Entertain a motion for that.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying
I
Hey, bye. Staying home.
staying home.
Oh, let's try that again. Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
I
Aye. That
I also
motion
want to stay
carries.
home.
That moves us to page 2, item number 8, for those of you playing at home. 8, discussion with the Albany County Extension Office about upcoming extension activities. Amanda, good afternoon, evening.
Good evening. Well, it's been a while since I've been here, or anyone from the extension office has been here. I just kind of wanted to come and give you an update on what's been happening in the extension office. My plan moving forward is to do this maybe a little more frequently, so you guys are in the know about all the things that are happening. So, and I feel like sometimes we come when we want something or something bad is happening if someone's leaving. So we'll try to come when we have positive news to share. So the last time we were here, we were kind of getting short staffed in the extension office because over the summer, Brian Samady left from our ag and natural resource position. And then our sensible nutrition educator, Jess Dooley, she also left during the summertime. So I was the last man standing, the new kid on the block, but I was the last one there for a little while. But we have essentially filled both of those positions now. So in October, our new sensible nutrition educator, Ruth Lake, started. Ruth had this position several years ago and she came back to us and she's really hit the ground running and she's hosted several classes. She's done Whiting High School, Linford Elementary, some adult classes, including some with Pine, Wyoming. And she's going to be starting classes, I think, tomorrow at Harmony Elementary School. So she'll be doing that. And she asked me to bring kind of their 2023 impact statements. I have a copy for each of you to peruse at your leisure there. We ended up conducting 2 searches to replace Brian's position. But I'm pleased to announce that our new educator by the name of Brenna Latinsky will start in our office in that position on May 28th. So we'll be fully staffed and then we'll bring Brenna to introduce her once she gets started. So things in the office are a little quieter in the winter. There's not as much going on. But so now we're going to kind of go into 4-H activities. Since the start of our 4-H year in October, we've welcomed 3 new project leaders. So we have a new project leader for our poultry project and our beef project. And we just started with a new leader for our swine project, which we didn't have one. And in the fall, we partnered with the 9H Research Foundation and Uplink Robotics to begin offering a weekly robotics program. And we took 7 kids on 2 different teams up to a state competition. It was a Lego First competition in Casper in December. So that was pretty fun for those kiddos. And since then, we have between 20 and 25 students participating in robotics every week on Monday. So in addition to that, we've started offering a drone project this year. And then we're also starting a garden club this summer. So 4-H is partnering with Ruth and Sensible Nutrition for the year. And together, we've been fortunate enough to receive a grant through Extension to put up a geodesic dome greenhouse. And we're going to be putting that up this summer and later in July. And so to keep momentum with our garden club, we're going to start gardening right away, even though we won't have that greenhouse till later. We're going to be gardening in the kids section at the community garden at Albany Park. And then with Ruth and Sensible Nutrition, we're also going to revamp and start the gardening club back up at Linford again to use their gardens that they have there. They don't have anyone willing to lead that. So we're going to help out with doing that as well. So we're going to teach kids gardening skills and learn about local food production, but we're also going to provide community service. So part of Sensible Nutrition, they partner with the Wyoming First Ladies Hunger Initiative and the Girl Little Extra program. And so we'll be donating extra produce to the food pantries and soup kitchen as part of our gardening efforts, as well as keeping some for maybe some cooking classes or something like that. So we're quite excited to get that started here in the county. And then also through the Hunger Initiative and the First Lady's office, I did want to mention that they have a program called Fair to Fork, and that happens during fair time where kids can essentially receive a little bit of money for their extra pig, and then the pig gets processed and donated to the food pantries as well. And so this year we had 2 of our members that were able to take part in that program and donated their pigs to Interfaith. And so one of those kiddos was actually a foster child who is now in a permanent placement. And she remembers a time when she had to utilize Interfaith to get food. So it was a really neat experience for her to be able to give back and donate her pig. So that was pretty special for her now that her circumstances have changed. So, and just a little update, our current enrollment in 4-H right now is 388 members and 73 active volunteers. I had a new to 4-H meeting at the end of January for our new members and families, and we had a record attendance of about 43 people. And that's the most they've had at one of these meetings for a couple of years. So I was pretty excited about that. We just had our 4-H carnival in March, and that was a pretty successful event. And then last week, 4 of our teenagers had been awarded scholarships and they traveled to a national 4-H conference. They went to a conference called Ignite, and it was held in Washington, D.C. So I'm waiting to hear back from them on the report on how the trip was. I saw some pictures. It looked like they got to go to the Smithsonian, and they were that conference is really geared toward career readiness. So I think those were some of the topics that they were talking about. And then another one of our teams will be traveling to Hawaii at the end of May, and it's part of a statewide event that's called Cross-Cultural Experiences. So there's a group going to Hawaii and another group going to Belize. So one of our members is going to be going to Hawaii on that trip.
Do you need chaperones?
I think they have chaperones, but we had a lot of volunteers for chaperones. So, but
Not an area that they usually beg for.
no, not on those trips. But in 2025, they're actually going to be going to Iceland and Italy. So there'll be 2 trips. So that'll be kind of exciting too. So hopefully we'll be able to send some kiddos to those trips as well. And then we're going to have an Easter egg hunt for the community on March 30th at 10 a.m. at the fairgrounds. So that's free to everybody. And then of course our busy season is coming up because we're talking about fair in the summertime. We're going to do a spring cleanup at the fairgrounds on the last day of school and have a kickoff to summer party as well. And then another exciting event over the summer is our junior leaders group, which is some of our teenagers between 13 and 18. They're going to be participating in an exchange with another 4-H program. So we reached out to some different groups, and they've chosen, I don't know how to say this exactly, Rensselaer County in upstate New York. And so in July, we're going to host 7 kids from New York. And then next summer, our kids will go to them and they'll learn about agriculture and they'll get to see things. And we're actually going to host them during Jubilee days. So it'll be kind of fun. They'll get to see some rodeos and all of the, our hometown celebrations. I think that will be really fun. So we'll talk about different agriculture. They have a kind of a local food focus in their program, their 4-H. So I thought it'd be neat to show them some of the things that we have in Wyoming. So that'll be kind of fun. And then kind of the last piece of news I have is that we'll be welcoming an AmeriCorps member to help out around the Extension office this summer. A gal by the name of Lane Johnson is going to be joining us to help with some of our summer activities, probably helping with the garden club and then our county fair and then helping with state fair. And part of that reason is Lane's going to take over some of my duties because I will be out on maternity leave this summer. So she's going to kind of help out with some of the jobs that I would normally do. So anyway, I hope to come back sometime soon and share with you more activities. Probably not until I'm back from leave in the fall, but hopefully I can report some other good things that are happening, not only with 4-H, but other areas in the Extension office as well.
Thanks so much, Amanda.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Oh, wow, that was a lot.
Yeah, and I forgot, I probably didn't mention every single thing. So, but yeah, like I said, I hope to do this a little more frequently and
Very impressive.
keep you guys up to date. So on all the things that we're doing.
So, how far into July will those kids be here from New York?
They'll be here for a week. It's the 9th through the 16th. So it's like a Tuesday to a Tuesday.
So I thought it'd be really cool for them to go on the ranch tour.
Yeah, when is that?
The 20th.
The 20th, of course. Yeah, and we wanted to actually host them a little earlier so we could do some other things, but they don't get out of school until the end of June. So they kind of have
Oh, yeah, that's.
tighter timeline with that. So, but then we kind of were thinking about maybe Julie's was too much going on and they didn't know what our members had for commitments, because basically students will kind of match up with another student through like a little biography interview. And so then those kids will stay in their home with them. And so then when our kids go to New York, whoever they're partnered with, they'll stay at their house when they go to New York. So I think we're going to be sending more kids than they're sending us. So that might be a little challenging with logistics, but I think it'll be pretty exciting. So I guess they've done this in the past, but the last time was during COVID. So they had kids from Wisconsin that came here, but then COVID shut things down. So then they weren't able to travel to Wisconsin. And so it hasn't happened since then. So this will be kind of the first time in a few years that we've been able to do this kind of team exchange with another 4-H group. So.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Item 9, present for approval, submittal of the City of Laramie Planning Division application for variance for a permanent digital sign at the Albany County Courthouse. Jake, good evening. Thanks.
Good evening. Thank you. This is just to submit a variance request to the city to kind of get permission to put a electronic message center sign out there, because currently the courthouse is zoned downtown commercial, and there is not allowance for an electronic message center sign in the code for this zoning. So we're requesting a zoning variance for that to allow that sign. Once we get that approval for that, then we'll put together an RFP for a contractor to install the sign. And so this is just the first step to get the variance approved through the city.
Commissioners, any questions?
And then Jake, can that sign be a permanent thing there?
Yes, it will be a permanent sign. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It has great opportunity. As we struggle communicating county information to people, having a sign that's visible, that's changeable, to alert people to elections or to fire season or to Jubilee days or to whatever would be a really helpful thing to have there. So I'm super excited about this.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'll be, Adam can speak more to it, but it's going to be controlled where he can change it to whatever we want to display out there from his office or his computer or his phone, however.
Magical devices.
It does not have to be.
What's that?
Yeah.
It does not have to be IT controlled,
Awesome.
but it'll be in a modular format is the general design premise. Something that allows us that if there's a rebrand of the county, we don't kind of end up in the same position we were with a static sign. So that maybe the top set would be modular so that a new brand could be placed on top of it, kind of in a monument style. Is one of the ideas that we're moving forward with.
Awesome.
And Jake, where you're proposing to put it, have you tested and driven by to make sure like you're not being blocked by the trees?
It's where the current sign is.
Uh-huh.
And that's about as much as we want to ask for from the city, because it's currently not zoned there. If we move it further into the street, it would be great if we could put it right on the sidewalk, but I think if we start encroaching too much, then we've got to deal with whiteout as well.
Right.
And it just complicates things. If we just say we're going to put it where it was, it'll make the process a little bit easier.
Yeah, no, I wasn't advocating for it.
So, but the big trees out front will be in the way to some degree. We can cut them down.
Yeah,
but-
well, and you can get walking traffic seeing it. No, I didn't want it any closer to Grand in case
But it will
passes
be.
by and tosses something at it.
Right, yeah, exactly. It will be visible. And once people kind of get familiar with being out there, then they'll be looking for it. And
Well, it's
hopefully-
not like it's gonna take a long time to read it, it's.
No, it's just gonna have a
Short
couple of,
message.
it's not gonna be a narrative. So,
Yeah. So both sides.
both sides,
guessing.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Nice.
Nice.
But it's not gonna have any bright lights.
Not bright, I guess that's subjective. It's gonna have LED lit sign.
Right,
that
but
will
it's
be
not gonna have
dimmable.
blinking lights or any of that
No,
stuff.
no.
And will it run through the night or will it just, is there a time that'll?
It'll be programmable to run through the night or to turn off at a certain time. And when it's really bright out, the lights will light up a little bit more. When it's dark out, they'll tone down a little bit, so that it won't be so bright at night.
Very good. Looks like you thought of it all.
If there aren't any other questions, I would entertain a motion for item 9.
I move that we approve item 9 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Brady, for working on that. 10, present for approval, scope of work between Coa Hills Consulting and the Albany County Board of Commissioners for assistance during the implementation process of the Enterprise Resource Planning Software Project, including project management, training, and training documentation materials in the amount not to exceed $190,375. And direct chairman to sign. Tracy.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners.
We hear your heels clicking out there.
That is not me.
No, I was meaning that as a positive thing.
Oh. Oh, I'm like, wait, what? It's on carpet. How did you hear my shoes? Yeah, sorry. I come in super early in the mornings too, so this time of the day is a little more difficult for me. I even had an energy drink beforehand though. But, so before you use the scope of work for Coa Hills, we have, Mike Monroe online to answer any questions should you have any. But this is to help us with our implementation and deployment process for the new, software. And basically, Mike and his team, they've done this before. Kayla and our teams have not. So we're going to rely heavily on them to assist us. One of the big things that they're going to do in this scope of work is the training and the documentation scope, which is going to help us get all those training tools that we're going to need going forward for any new staff or for stuff we don't do regularly. And with this also is in the project cost, you'll see there's a contingency in there. And I think Mike can address this, that if we should not need that, he would not, of course, charge us then. But I'll stand for any questions, and then Mike's online too. If you have any questions for Mike.
Commissioners, any questions for Tracy? Mr. Monroe, good evening. Thanks. The floor is yours.
Good evening. Good evening.
Did you have anything to present?
Yes, absolutely. As Tracy said, the scope of work lays things out pretty clearly, but we always have a contingency in case there's unforeseen items that pop up during the project. That would be based on a formal process where we would seek approval before engaging in any of those hours. Otherwise, those hours would be used as incurred, and if not, they would just go back into the budget and move on. But we always put a contingency in. We've got an experienced team of project managers at Coa Hills. We're doing several projects, including currently working with the city of Laramie on their Tyler implementation. We just successfully went live on the financial suite. We're currently working on permitting and licensing, and coming up in July, we're starting HR payroll there, and kind of a similar scope to the project at the county. County's scope is a little smaller, and we will have a dedicated project manager working with the Albany team, and I will be involved in the project as well.
Thank you, Mr. Monroe. Any questions, commissioners?
So will you have those being trained, every department head with this, or is it just you and Kayla and
Yes.
Chelsea?
That is the goal, to have everybody. Our plan is, I think I kind of addressed this a little, when I was talking about the Tyler Tech thing, is to have each department enter their own vouchers and everything. And then Amanda's position would be more oversight into that, double checking those account numbers and some of those things. So the training would come with that. At what point? I don't know. It's going to be a huge culture change here to do a lot of these changes, and some of the other changes that we kind of have hopes for, like, scanning of everything. And it is just going to take us a little bit to change our train of thought.
Okay, and this whole thing is like a 5-month
It's
as far as
probably, so Mike has in
period of
here, the scope
performance?
goes through October of 2025. So it's gonna take us a little
Oh,
bit.
yes, you're right.
We gotta rewrite the chart of accounts, so we have, because right now we have a finite number of accounts that we can use anymore. So this will give us room for expansion in those areas, for that future growth that we're kind of trying to look down the road
Mhm.
as our legacy. There's so many other things that are going to change, transferring all the data from our current software, which includes, Bamboo, our payroll system, our accounting system, and the fixed assets as well. So there's going to be a whole lot of things going into this that is honestly a little bit scary. But that's why we got Mike, to make it less scary.
Okay. Yeah, I did see 2025. I read it. 2025. Thank you.
And Mike, just trying to figure out how you envision this. This is a quarter position for 18 months. Is that one person throughout the 18 months and then using the subject matter experts as you go? Is that how that works? So an HR team reports to somebody who's in charge of the Albany County. Is that how I'm thinking how it might go?
So we'll assign a project manager to lead to it, but we'll definitely have a backup to that as well. And at Cohills, we have many subject matter experts trained in the Tyler Munis product that can jump in and help at any point in time at the direction of the project manager. And that's why we have some hours for that kind of client side help. Tyler will be doing the implementation. They'll have their consultants, but we will be kind of sitting on the county side of the table, making sure that everything gets done right. This is a scary proposition to you when you do it the first time. We've done it hundreds of times collectively, so we know the steps, and we work with the various project managers to get through it. And we will provide the one consistent or two consistent resources throughout, and then we'll weave in the right resource at the right time when they're needed in the project, subject matter experts in every area. Does that answer your question?
Yep, it sure does. And then is this virtual? Do you anticipate most of this help being virtual? Will there be on-site physical help? Thoughts about that?
Yeah, we found that for the most part, there's some real value to coming on site for a couple of kickoff meetings and a few things, but for the most part, saving the budget and instead of paying it for hotels and travel, we can do more with training and training videos, and so we try to minimize the travel these days. And being on site, but sometimes it can be really impactful for certain times. So we certainly are ready and willing to travel as the project dictates.
Okay, and did you figure this contract at 750 hours for the 18 months? Am I getting the right amount of hours?
Yeah, I have to look at exactly, Tracy, you have the hours there.
It looks like there's 270.
Right.
There,
Aside
and
from
then
yeah,
it has the
aside from
travel
quarter
at the bottom.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Anybody else have anything? I'd entertain a motion for item 10, please.
I move that we approve item 10 and direct the chairman to sign.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
Item 11, present for approval, letter of support to Rocky Mountain Power for the fiscal 2024 Blue Sky Award Grant for the purpose of securing funds to install solar panels at the Albany County Road and Bridge Building and Albany County Search and Rescue Building. Brady, good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is a letter of support for the solar panel installation project that will be that the county is applying for through the Blue Sky Grant Program for Rocky Mountain Power. This is just showing that the commission is in support of applying for these funds and wants to reduce our energy costs.
Commissioners, any questions? Not an entertaining motion for 11, please.
I move that we approve item 11 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. And you're gonna be with us for a while, I think, Brady, aren't you?
I think I get a break after this one.
Okay, present for approval, submittal of the Rocky Mountain Power Blue Sky Award Grant application, the amount of $337,959 to install ground mounted solar panels, the Albany County Search and Rescue buildings and the Albany County Road and Bridge building. And it looks like you probably got it because I don't see Leo or Emily here.
I believe Leo said that he couldn't make it tonight, and I told Emily that I could handle it on my own. So this is the actual application for those funds. And for the project itself, I believe it is a 30% match, and from my understanding, there is a federal tax relief, tax credit for up to 30% of a project's costs can be reimbursed through that credit for the installation of solar panels. So I don't remember the total cost, but it's
If everything goes right, it'll be paid for.
if everything goes right, there shouldn't be any cost long-term to the county. So all of the energy that we're putting back into the grid or using for ourselves before we pull from the grid would be basically money directly back into our pockets. So I think it's a really good grant if we can get everything applied for, and you should all approve it.
Any questions for Brady on call? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 12.
I move that we approve item 12 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. A motion carries. Brady, thank you, and thanks to Leo and Emily and Bailey for working on this. Be excited to see what happens hopefully soon. 13, present for acceptance, petition to vacate a portion of First Street in the plat of Centennial, Wyoming, as submitted by Preston Harrer. Require Preston Harrer to have a licensed surveyor prepare a geographical survey, including legal descriptions of the property to be vacated and legal descriptions of the property that will transfer to each adjacent landowner, and provide a survey and legal descriptions to the county. Set the deadline for objections to the proposed vacation and claims for damages by reason thereof, not be less than 30 days after the board's acceptance of the petition, and direct the clerk to publish the public notice of the deadline for objections and send a notice by registered mail to all persons owning or claiming an interest in lands over or across the proposed area to be vacated. Karen, welcome.
And I do have a correction to that. It should be present the viewer's report, not the petition.
Okay, we will change it to present the viewer's report, not petition. Thank you. Karen, go on ahead, please. Thank you. Welcome.
Chairman Gosar and Commissioners, the proposed vacation is located in Section 3, Township 15 North, Range 78 West, Albany County, Wyoming, and extends 36 feet into the existing First Street right-of-way adjacent to the south side of lots 11 through 20 of Block 55 of the dedication plot of Centennial, Albany County, Wyoming, and is 260 feet in length. See the map of proposal to vacate consisting of one page, which is marked Exhibit 3 in your packet. It is my opinion as viewer that the requested vacation of the portion of the right-of-way within First Street be vacated. It covers a rectangular portion of First Street right-of-way that is 36 feet wide by 260 feet long, lying south of lots 11 through 20, Block 55 of Centennial Plot. See Exhibit 3. In my opinion as viewer, do not see any impact on access to surrounding properties or of the proposed vacation, nor will the flow of traffic on the right-of-way be affected. If vacation is approved, the applicant should be ordered to provide a new geographical survey of the property to be vacated that includes legal descriptions for the portion of the vacation that will transfer to each of the 3 adjacent landowners and be completed by a licensed surveyor that will be recorded in the county clerk, and the commissioners will prepare quitclaim deeds for each of the landowners adjacent to the vacation. Regardless of the commissioner's decision regarding the proposed vacation, maintenance of First Street and the underlying right-of-way should not be the responsibility of Albany County. If you have any questions for me?
Sure. Commissioners, any questions for Karen? I just have a question, not about just the impact of the vacation. So I look at the properties south of the street. And there is a property that is outside of the boundaries of its property line, at least as it appears on this map on page 188 of our packet of 544. If they were to come for a vacation, you'd make that street pretty narrow in some places. Your thoughts on that, Karen?
Well, we'll be left of the right of way. It was, I believe it's 44 feet out of the
Okay.
80-foot right of way.
Okay. All right.
So there's still plenty of room to go through there.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I had. I would entertain a motion for 13 if there are no further questions.
I move that we approve, acceptance, we accept the petition to vacate a portion of First Street in the plat of Centennial, Wyoming, as submitted by Preston Harrer, and require Preston Harrer to have a licensed surveyor prepare a reviewer's report. Is that correct?
No, you accept the viewer's report
Oh, okay.
and then the surveyor will prepare the legal. It's just the very first
Okay.
part that changes.
Okay, so I move that we accept a reviewer's report. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further, and I think you probably need to direct the clerk to advertise.
And then direct the clerk to publish the public notice of the deadline for objections.
Second degree.
Second agrees.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
Really detailed report. I appreciate that. Item 14, present for approval, utility license for Black Hills Energy on Curtis Street, Laramie, Wyoming, 500 feet of pipeline on Curtis Street right of way. Rob.
Rob's on vacation.
Okay.
I think, this is the one oh no, that's a different one. I don't know. It came through city. Well, no, the city always sends them out really early. So there was one that came out like last week, but it's not for the next agenda about needing a culvert. So I think this is just a general utility license. I don't think Rob has any issues with it.
I know he does not because I talked to him about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he didn't say anything about having any issues, so I don't think it's just here for your consideration. If you have any issues, we'll have to get with Rob when he's back next week.
I'd entertain a motion for item 14.
I move that we approve item 14 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Item 15, present for approval, equipment purchase and trade-in agreement between the Board of County Commissioners of Albany County, Wyoming, by and through Albany County Road and Bridge and Tri-State Truck and Equipment Inc. for the purchase of a 2023 Volvo excavator.
This one I am filling in for Rob on. This is the contract. We awarded the bid to Tri-State at a previous meeting, and this is the actual contract for that meeting. For that excavator, my understanding from Rob is they have it ready. And once the contract is all signed and executed, it should be here by the end of the month.
All right. Any questions, commissioners?
No.
Not, I'd entertain a motion for 15, please.
I move that we approve item 15 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Jennifer. 16, present for approval, invitation to bid for a 2022 or newer side-by-side all-terrain vehicle and trailer for use by the Albany County Fire Warden, and direct the clerk to advertise. Jack, good evening.
Hello, this is a redo. We did put this out for bid last year and did not have any bids on it. That was partially my fault. I had not spoken to vendors. So this time around, BJ and myself have preloaded some of the vendors and we'll help them walk through the application process if they're interested. So we feel that we higher likelihood of getting some bids this time on this. Just a quick background on that. Currently, my office has a four-wheeler, which is beyond obsolete. It still runs and operates, but it's four-wheelers or ATVs are no longer really in use in fire service anymore. The Forest Service has outlawed them. The BLM has outlawed them for fire use. They're just far too dangerous. So UTVs is it's where we're going, and this is a much needed piece of equipment. I'm not even sure what year that four-wheeler is. It's easily 20 years old, I believe, so it's ready for replacement. These funds will be Title III funds. We have that accounted for.
Thank you, Chad. Any questions, commissioners?
Be nice to have those windows.
It will, and AC.
I'd entertain a motion for 16 then.
I move that we approve item 16 as presented and direct the clerk to advertise.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Item 17, present for approval, fire supplemental project agreement between Albany County and the USDA Forest Service, Medicine Bow National Forests and Thunder Basin National Grasslands, and direct the fire warden to sign. Please.
Well, of the many things I've stood here to discuss with you, this is by far the thing I'm most excited about. This is a very, very exciting development in fire locally and with the county. Frequently, you'll hear in the news the question about what can we do to stop these large mega fires that happen all over the country, and the answer is resounding: we need to put more fire on the landscape. That's something that the federal agencies are leaning more and more into, and by that I mean they're funding more. Introducing fire to the landscape is just something that needs to happen in order to maintain the balance that happens up there, so we don't have big fires anymore. In the past, we as county firefighters have assisted the Forest Service or BLM with prescribed burning at various times. Last year, they did prescribed burning at Pole Mountain, and we were invited to help them, and our guys went up there and helped on their own dime. They volunteered to help out for a couple of days up there with the prescription burning that was taking place. And I had told my guys that to consider an audition and to stand tall and look good and do all the right things. And I'm proud to report that we got the job. So it worked out really well. The Forest Service was able to secure some additional funding to invite us onto their prescriptions again this year. This is a separate agreement from the annual operating plan agreement that we have, because that is a Stafford Act agreement that only involves emergencies. So it's always been the case that we could be ordered to assist in an actual wildfire incident, but that agreement didn't cover non-emergent fire activities. So when we helped for free. And so this year, the Medicine Bow National Forest has come about with some funding that they're going to be able to pay us to assist this year. It's going to be exciting development because it really, really helps our guys out. The monies that they'll make is probably the least of my concern. The training and experience that they get working with the federal guys and doing this type of work is just amazing. It's going to be really, really good. So super excited about it.
So Chad, this agreement is something that's proactive.
It is, absolutely. So these plans are developed by the Forest Service, and the process to develop a burn plan is huge and extensive, and these have been developed over many, many years. Our guys are familiar with burn plans and how to read them and stuff, but you know, when we get invited to these deals, it'll be kind of a spur of the moment, because they'll have to make a decision on a day by day whether they're in prescription, which involves the wind speeds and the temperature and humidities and all of those things that go into, is it safe? Is this a good day to burn? It's a tricky thing, because it has to be the right conditions to burn, but not too bad to where it really burns. So it's got to be just right. Prescriptions are very specific. After some things that have happened in our country over the past couple of years with prescribed fire, they've tightened up some of the processes. And so they're really, really a good process. Our federal partners just do not have the folks to do this on their own, is the reality. The federal firefighting force is dwindling faster and faster. So it's become a necessity that they have to bring in help, and it works to our advantage. It's really a good thing. And that way they can conduct a prescription up there that's safe by having the resources they need to keep it within prescription. So it's in everyone's, and that was part of the reason why we did volunteer in the past, because we felt from a county perspective and fire agency perspective, it was better to give them plenty of resources that they would need to keep it within prescription, as opposed to wait until the bell rang and then everyone chasing up there to try to get it in check. So, always better to have a lot of people there, and this is gonna allow our partners to have the folks they need to do it safely and within control.
Any other questions? I'd entertain a motion for 17, please, then.
I move that we approve this agreement and direct the fire warden to sign it. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Thank you very, very much.
Hearing and seeing that, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it. Item 18, present for approval memorandum of understanding for high-intensity drug trafficking areas. Task force officers between the state of Wyoming Office of the Attorney General Division of Criminal Investigation and Albany County Sheriff's Office for calendar year 2024. Sheriff, good evening.
Commissioners, good evening. This is the same MOU that we've had with Rocky Mountain HIDA for a lot of years now, where it basically they supply grant funding for one of our positions to work on a joint task force team between our local agencies and Wyoming Division of Criminal Investigation in the state. So all they're doing is renewing our yearly agreement.
Commissioners, any questions? If not, I entertain a motion for 18, please.
I move that we approve item 18 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Item 19, present for approval, purchase of video equipment to renovate the Albany County Sheriff's Office interview rooms and contract for video storage. Sheriff, again, please.
Yes, the bid that you should have before you is for the renovation of our interview room that we have. We're expanding from 1 to 2 using a combination of funds from ARPA. I believe 10,000 was given to us a couple years ago to be used for the interim and interview rooms. That'll be used for the equipment, and the rest of the money will come from some of our windmill tax money that we're getting on there, because we asked for extra storage in that tax money for storage for the body cam and other, basically our whole Axon system for our video systems that we use within our office. So it's a combination of those two funds. The interview room that we have currently, the software, it's been outdated for about 2 or 3 years. We haven't used it. We've just used the Axon body cams, which is a better system on there as well. And so, like I said, that's the bid that you have in front of you. I believe that, or the quote that you have in front of you, I believe that quote's for 5 years. And like I said, most of that portion is for video storage costs.
Sheriff, any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 19, please.
I move that we approve item 19 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Item 20, present for approval. Invitation to bid for the LED lighting project at the Albany County Detention Center. Direct the clerk to advertise. Sheriff.
Commissioners, pretty self-explanatory here. We were awarded a grant. I believe it was for $50 or $55,000.
It was 50 with the $5,000 match.
Yes, so both. $50,000 with a $5,000 match to renovate the Albany County Detention Center from its current lighting project to those energy-saving LED lights projects. So this is the bid that we'd like to get out and advertise, and then start collecting those proposals, and then here in a few weeks go over those.
Commissioners, any questions? I'm really excited about the fact that our grant match will be paid back in a year's time.
Yeah.
And then after that, it is just money saved.
Yeah,
it's $5,000.
It'll be a big help, like I've said before, with some of the energy cost saving things that we've tried to do with our buildings. Unfortunately, that detention center is one of our highest cost buildings in terms of energy usage. So it's a jail, so it doesn't have any windows. It's open on and 24 hours a day. So it takes a lot of energy to make that work. So this will good. It'll give some savings to the county, and then make things a lot better within the detention center as well.
Awesome. I'd entertain a motion for 20 if there are no other questions, please?
I move that we approve the invitation to bid for the LED lighting at the Albany County Detention Center and direct the clerk to advertise.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Item 20A, amendment 1 to the cooperative agreement between the Wyoming Department of Transportation, Wyoming Highway Patrol, and Albany County Sheriff's Department.
Yes, thank you, commissioners, for squeezing this in. I received this late this afternoon, but it's a pretty easy MOU. Just to kind of bring you up to speed, the sheriff's office has an MOU agreement with the Wyoming Highway Patrol to man the road closed gates in inclement weather when they're overtasked with other traffic duties or other law enforcement duties as well. That agreement that was originally signed, I believe, in 2023 expires the end of May of 2024. And the Highway Patrol would like to extend our agreement to 2026. And so that's what we have before you today. The Highway Patrol essentially agrees to pay the overtime for sheriff's deputies to man those gates. The cap is at $50,000, and after looking at it today, we're only at about almost 1/4 of that so far. So not increasing the max should still cover all the costs that are needed to man those gates for the next couple of years.
Yeah. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Sheriff? Kayla or Jennifer, do we need to direct the sheriff to sign on this motion, or do we not need that?
I do have to sign it.
I was gonna say, I would put a direct sign because it was sent to some signature.
Okay. Entertain a motion then, please.
I move that we approve item A and direct the sheriff to sign.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. 21, present for approval, submittal of the Wyoming Court Supervised Treatment Program State Fiscal Year 2025 and 2026 grant application in the amount of $407,541.01 to serve at least 20 adult participants in the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program. Heather, good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. So first off, we have used to be an annual grant for our program to submit to the state. They have changed it this year with the transition under the Supreme Court starting in July. So they, for the first time, are offering a 2-year grant. So this will cover for the 2025-2026. We have requested at least 20 participants funding wise. Our program so far this year, just up to this point in time, we have had 50 active participants. So, of course, we have the additional funding through SAMHSA for the additional participants, but I have no concerns on us meeting the requirements for the state.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Heather about?
And Heather, the 20 adult participants is for each year, 2025.
Correct.
Separate, 2026, another.
Correct. We actually put in, the way this is worded was at least, we did put in for a request for 20 participants for the next year and then 21 participants for the year after, with the hope to grow the programs.
Thank you.
And in the cover sheet, it says various in-kind contributions or services. What are those services? Just so I have a word knowledge of that.
Absolutely. And I took a picture of it. You might be able to pick it up quicker. It identifies, and Bailey did not send me all of the letters, but we do have in-kind from Department of Corrections. We have in-kind from the County Attorney's Office. We have in-kind from the Sheriff's Department, in multiple agent in-kind from Bailey, the grants office, and covering all of those. Sorry, I was pulling that up. And then with the cash match, cash match was $54,000 under the adult program.
So also some in-kind from IT. Providing
That's right.
Software and other hardware support.
Awesome. Thank you so much. there are no further questions, I entertain a motion for 21.
I move that we approve item 21 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 22, present for approval, submittal of the Wyoming Court Supervised Treatment Program State Fiscal Year 2025 and 2026 grant application in the amount of $230,034.16 to serve at least 7 juvenile participants in the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program. Heather, again, please.
Commissioners, so this is for our juvenile program, the integrated juvenile treatment program. Same setup for the 2 years. We did request funding for 7 participants for each of those years. In the past, it has been 6 participants. So far this year, we have provided services to 9 individual participants. So we're sitting a little bit above where we have been in the past, and have a really good relationship right now with DFS, our county attorney's office, lots of community partners.
Awesome. Commissioners, any questions for Heather? Entertain a motion for 22 then, please.
I move that we approve item 22 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 23, present for approval contract between the Board of Commissioners, County of Albany, Wyoming, by and through the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program, Adult Diversion Program, and Kylie Yeen at Sky Consulting for Addiction Severity Index Assessments and individual counseling for participants. Kylie, I'm sorry if I messed up your last
Okay, she's used to it.
name. Please tell me what it is.
Yeen.
Yeen, okay.
So this is exciting. It's our first couple contracts for our adult diversion program. I had reached out to many counseling centers here in town, and our goal was going into the grant application for the adult diversion program was to utilize multiple community resources for treatment for participants. So this one is specifically for Sky Counseling, who is owned and operated by Kaylee Yeen. They will be doing substance abuse assessments for participants that we refer over, and then providing individual counseling. And that does include EMDR, which is trauma counseling, and the possibility of couples counseling.
Thank you, Heather. Commissioners, any questions?
Yeah, so Heather, Sky Counseling, it's something new. I don't recognize this. Is this a totally new counseling agency that we're using?
It is. I am familiar with Kaylee from prior working at Department of Corrections. She had started her own business almost 2 years ago, but she just got LLC and state certified within the last year. And they just purchased a building down off 504 Lion Street that they'll have a center that they'll be running treatment out of. Before this, she's just done online and some individual virtually. And so she's LLC now, state certified, all of those requirements that we needed.
Nice to have another option, huh?
Absolutely. Very excited. And we have a couple more in the works. So these are just the ones we have so far.
Thanks, Heather.
Any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 23.
I move that we approve item 23 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 24, present for approval contract between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming, by and through the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program, Adult Diversion Program, and Specialty Counseling and Consulting LLC for assessments, individual and group counseling for participants. Heather, please.
This contract is also for the diversion program. This is a second counseling center with specialty counseling. They have also agreed to contract for substance abuse assessments, as well as mental health evaluations, and then providing individual group counseling. The group counseling is a big change for here. We have some pretty limited options. As I mentioned, we have VOA is in the works, and there's other that we're using with the community. However, again, having options for somebody to go to, especially if they have already established at a counseling center that we will be able to provide them the different places that they can select. So this is for our contract with specialty counseling.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 24, please.
I move that we approve item 24 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 25, present for approval contract between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming, by and through the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Programs, Integrated Juvenile Treatment Program, and Education Health Center of Wyoming, Albany County Community Health Clinic for psychiatric nurse practitioner services for program participants. Heather, please.
So just to remind the commissioners, we did have a contract with Albany Community Health approximately September, October of last year that provided services for both our adult participants and our juvenile participants. In working with Bailey and some of our funding, the funding source changed for this contract. So juveniles were removed from it. And so again, thank you to Jennifer because she helped me with all of these over the last couple of weeks. This would be to contract specifically for our juvenile participants and be able to pay for that specifically out of our juvenile funding so that it is clear for our grant funders who is what is going where.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Heather, is there any medication involved in this contract?
We do not pay for medication. It would be for medication management, so that the appointment with the psych nurse practitioner, we do not pay for medication.
Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion for item 25.
I move that we approve item 25 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Heather.
you.
Appreciate it. 26 has been removed, so we'll move us to 27. Present for approval, staffing agreement between the Albany County Clerk's Office and Express Services, Inc. to facilitate hiring part-time election staff. Kayla. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is a staffing agreement between my office and Express Services. They provide part-time temporary help. So they do all of the interviewing, all of the workers' comp, the hiring, everything. So basically what they would do is they would put forth people to me. I would then screen them. We would do the drug testing and of course the background checks. But this is to staff part-time help out in the absentee polling place so that we will have 3 people plus Stacy out there at all times. I don't have enough staff up in my office to pull staff out there. So it's easier to hire the part-time temporary help rather than me try to do it through my office. It's a lot of work. And I know that Anissa does a lot of that too, but really it falls upon my shoulders and they really do all of the heavy lifting, which is quite wonderful. And Laramie County has used Express for, I think, as long as I can remember. They've used them for a long time and they have staff that come back every 2 years to help them with elections. So I'm hoping that maybe we can develop some relationships with people that maybe would want to come back.
I was just gonna ask you, have we had any repeats as far as people coming back from one election?
No, so we've never used them before. This will be the first
okay.
time we've ever used them. We've always used our own staff, but I have not increased. I've lost staff and just have not increased. We just haven't had the volume of customers in order for me to do that. And for me to pull my staff away, it's too much. And it's stressful. I'm hoping that I can just get staff out there just to do solely that and not have all of the extra other work that they have to do like my staff would have to if they were out there. So
I think it's a great idea.
yeah, same here. I'm excited.
Kayla, I think it's a great idea. Is there any thoughts about this adding complexity to the elections and how some have already, no matter what happens, the elections are always questioned?
No, because I think, we'll still solicit all of, they're going to do the hiring, but really it comes down to me. They'll give us the list of people. We can do a small interview ourselves too and say yay or nay. We'll still all do all the same things that we would do if they were, our employees, and training and everything, because they'll have to go through the state in order to have all their logins for the state too. So I don't foresee any issues. But if something comes up, we'll deal with it as it comes, I guess.
Well,
Well-
Stacy will be out there the whole time.
Yeah, Stacy will, Stacy will
Well,
be the one.
and it's gone well in Laramie County. so-
Yeah, which is really helpful too, so.
If there are no more questions, I entertain a motion for 27, please.
I move that we approve item 27 as presented.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Item 28, present for approval, resolution 2024-008, a resolution transferring unencumbered or unexpended appropriation balances from one fund to another and amending the appropriations for the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget of the County of Albany, Wyoming. Kayla.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, we have, money that we budgeted and then you go along and sometimes you don't budget enough. So I'll just go through section 1, which is the following amendments are made for the fiscal year 23-24 budget. So from the general fund increase, the fire budget will be increased by 5,000. And the reason for that is we had more volunteers. It was an increase in the workers' comp and retirement, which is probably a good thing. We have more volunteers. So it just increased that budget that we couldn't foresee. The detention center medical line item needed to be increased by 55,520. And the reason for that is that the last payment of last fiscal year was made in this fiscal year and not in so they billed late is what happened. So we had to account for it this fiscal or last fiscal year rather than, and we're talking 2 fiscal years. We have to pay for it this year is when we have to pay for it. And it should have been paid for last year. Yes, Tracy, I know. All these fiscal years, right? And then from the employee health benefit funds increase, the health savings contributions we need to increase by 90,000. And that really is more employees have taken advantage of the HSA. So it has increased the HSA amount that we have to put out. Because the county, of course, puts the $200 per employee for that. The administration went up by 400,000, and that's really, we just failed to budget for the increase in the rate increases. So that's going to cover that. And then the consultant increased by 3,000 and their contract increased after the budget was approved. And they do amazing work for us. I don't know that we could do the health insurance stuff without them. And then from the 1% optional tax funds increase, the growth area development plan increased by 3,000 and the cap update by 4,000. And it's not an increase. It's how Tracy and I have talked with the new ERP system. It was a project that was from last fiscal year, just didn't get carried over. So those funds should have been carried over. And hopefully with our new ERP, we'll be able to carry projects over. It'll automatically carry those over and you won't have to do it on an Excel spreadsheet and remember to carry those funds over. So that's what that is. So the above amendments are in the amount of $560,520 to be adjusted to the 23-24 approved budget for your approval.
Thank you, Kayla. Commissioners, any questions? Now I entertain a motion for 28, please.
I move that we approve item 28 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 29, present for approval, interagency agreement. Let me see. Let me go to the right one.
I'm sorry.
29, present for approval, the interagency agreement between the State of Wyoming, Office of the Secretary of State and Albany County Clerk's Office to set forth the responsibilities of the county regarding the acceptable use of the state's electronic poll book module of the Wyoming voter registration and election management system. Thank you, Kayla.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. So what this is the agreement between the county and the Secretary of State to use electronic poll books for the next upcoming election. It set forth all of the, Adam can probably speak to it better, all the technical things that we have to follow. We do have to have a consultant come from WildReg, which is Erican, which is the parent company. They'll come for the primary and the general. So we will have on-site support for both elections plus our IT. They'll probably work solely with Adam. But it really just sets out all of the technical things that we have to follow as the county in order to use the electronic poll books. It does not cost us because it's through our WildReg system, which is the statewide system, which we don't pay for. So it's a module through that system, which is wonderful because it ties right into our system. It's not an external e-poll book. It's right there in our system. So that's what that is.
Commissioners, any questions?
Nope.
Not entertain a motion for item 29.
I move that we approve the interagency agreement between the state of Wyoming Office of the Secretary of State and Albany County's County Clerk's Office to set forth the responsibilities of the county regarding the accessible use of the state electronic mobile module of the Wyoming Voter Registration and Election Management System.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you.
30, ratify lease agreement with Renaissance Realty for the property at 429 Mitchell Street, I-4 for the use of drug court participant housing, and authorize the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program Director to sign. Heather, please.
Chairman, Commissioners, this is our second step of transitional housing that we are providing for participants in our adult program. As we went through last year, when a good lease comes up, I have to jump on it. And so I communicated with Bailey and with Jen, and we were able to get everything approved through them. And then Renaissance Realty had approved to work with us. This is for a 4-bedroom apartment. Rent is $1,400, which is kind of unbeatable here for 4 bedrooms. It has laundry in the unit. It's landscaping, everything is provided. So it was a really good deal, and we will be able to fund this through our state opioid response funds, our SOR funds, or the state quality of life funding. So it has worked well since last August when we got our first set of apartments. And so I think this will be our next step in providing stable housing coming out of residential, is mainly when we're seeing it or coming out of incarceration.
Heather.
This replaces the prior two.
Our prior to will expire the end of June, and then this will replace those.
And Heather, how much time do we house participants? How much time do they have before they have to?
Right now, we have set the agreement at 60 days. We have not had to extend that yet. Our case manager works with them on getting plugged into community resources, applying for housing, Section 8, Cheyenne housing. And so we have had luck with that so far. We might have to revisit that, but we've been right about 45 days is what we've been sitting in.
Any other questions, Commissioners? If not, I'd entertain a motion for item 30, please.
I move that we approve this lease agreement and authorize the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program Director to sign it.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
That motion carries. Thank you, Heather. 31, present for approval, quote in the amount of $44,487.02 from CWG to purchase computer equipment. Adam, good evening.
This is a workstations as well as a handful of printers on the state, NASBO or IT equipment contract, providing some disaster recovery facilitation as well as some elections facilitation for the hardware.
Commissioners, any questions for Adam? Love to get this price, but I can't get those prices. I'd entertain a motion for 31 if I could, please.
I move that we approve item 31 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Adam. 32, present for approval, Amendment 1 to the Memorandum of Understanding between the Wyoming Department of Health, Public Health Division, and Albany County for the purpose of extending the term of the agreement through June 30th, 2025, and to amend the responsibilities of the county. Kim, good evening.
Hello, good evening. So this is just that original COVID grant that we've had from back in 2021, and we got the extension to use it through the June 30th of 2025, since the CDC changed their guidelines on what it can be used for. So we got that extension so we can use it wisely and hopefully all of it.
Commissioners, any questions? I'd entertain a motion for item 32, please.
I move that we approve item 32 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. 33, discuss county appointments to the Albany County Transportation Authority and direct staff on how to proceed. So the ACTA, the city has asked us to imagine ACTA. We had shut her down a couple of years ago because it didn't do much. There was nothing to do, but it seems like there's a grant available through the city where ACTA needs to be brought back to life. The city has asked that Mayor Harrington and City Manager Jordan be on the ACTA board, and we wanted to figure out the 3 spots in the county, how we would populate those. Kayla sent out a call for volunteers for all the department heads and elected officials.
Got one, David Gertch.
David Gertz got in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know.
Nobody from the treasurer's office?
No, she didn't even, I thought she'd be the first, but no.
I thought that would be coming. Maybe that's coming tomorrow.
Do we have a deadline with which to submit?
We don't. I just asked if anybody was interested. So we have 3 positions to fill. There's a 3-year, a 1-year, a 2-year, and a 3-year term. They're staggered. So, however you guys want me to go forward, if you want me to advertise it out to the public and solicit applications, if you want it to be county staff for right now to get this moving, I don't, it's at your pleasure as how you want me to move forward with it. Once we figure out what we're gonna do, then I'll put the approval of, the city's nominations. I'll try to do it all as one resolution, but really, you guys give me direction on how you want me to move forward.
I'd like to see it go out to the citizens.
Do you want like 1 citizen appointment, maybe 2 staff? How would you, because I'll have to know how to advertise it. If it's 1 position, 2 positions, 3 positions, whichever, and which position you want me to advertise.
I'd say 2.
2. And I'm all for however you guys want me to do
I think
it.
I'm more comfortable with 1 citizen participant and 2 staff. And maybe we haven't given enough time because you just sent that out.
I did.
Tuesday or Wednesday, right?
I did last week.
Yeah, and I agree with Sue. To get this thing up and running, I'd like to get that going, and then if it gets up and where it's gonna be a full-time commission, then we'll just open that up, maybe no county staff. I don't know what the city will do in their piece of it, but so.
Would you like me to, do you want me to do the 1, 2, or 3-year appointment for the city, or for the 1 citizen one?
3 years.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with being the 3
3 year?
years. Yeah,
Okay.
get them committed for a while.
And then I will put out again, maybe I'll put a reminder. Would you like me to bring it back? So normally we try to advertise it out to the public for at least a couple of weeks. Are we looking at maybe, so we're in the second meeting in April?
Yeah.
Is that enough time?
Yeah,
Okay.
if we don't get any applications, then we'll figure out how to staff
And
it.
if anybody knows anybody, of course,
Mhm.
let them know. So the April 16th meeting. Okay, so 1 citizen, 3-year, and then I'll piggyback my email and let staff know when the deadline is. So if they want
Kayla,
to.
do we have any record of who sat on it before?
We do. So it was a lot larger when we had it before. I don't remember when that meeting was, if I find this resolution.
I can't remember, but there was like UW and there were
Yeah.
a whole bunch of agencies and a whole bunch of people on that board.
Great, Jordan.
I can't remember entirely now, but it was a lot.
Yeah, because it was a lot bigger.
Okay, well, maybe some of those people would still be interested.
They very well could be. I
Can see
think
the advertisement.
I'll look and see. If you give me a minute, if we want to move forward, then I can let you know who was on it before. When that was on,
It's actually on our county website.
is it?
It was, I think so. Yeah, Carolyn Smith, Andy
Thank you.
Somerville, Craig Cook, Paul Drake, Randy Hunt, Tom Martin, Lindsay Shoemaker. There you go.
Okay,
So.
Okay.
It's 17 and 18. Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah. Okay, is that good enough?
Yeah.
Okay, item 34, executive session pursuant to Wyoming State Statute 16-4-405A, Roman numerat II. Does anybody need a break before we go into executive session?
I can make it through this time.
All right. I'd entertain a motion for 34 then, please.
I move, we move into executive session at 7:32.
second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
I,
Aye. The motion carries. Leaving regular session, entering executive session. 32. Motion carries. Now returning to regular session, item 37, action if needed regarding executive session. There is no action. 38, I'd entertain a motion to approve payroll and vouchers for March 2024.
I move that we approve payroll and vouchers for March 2024.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all